Hey guys. Thank you, thank you. Congratulations.
Well done. You deserve this.
All right, Genie Clicker.
I got one.
Okay.
All right. All right. I haven't even seen Diamond Diane. Where is she? Oh, okay. Well, I'm super excited to be here right now. Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, I just came back from a global tour. So I believe I've got the next 20 minutes or so with you. I'd like to first start off with a question. When you were first introduced to Organo Gold, what were you told? Let's see if we can get these slides up here. Were you told that you'd make lots of money? Were you told that it's a pretty easy side hustle and it doesn't require a lot of work? Were you told that you'll get healthier from drinking the coffee? Or were you told that you can do it in your free time? Would you like to know what I was told? Well, before I do, what I will say is the success that I've had in Organo has nothing to do with the money, nothing to do with the perks, or certainly nothing to do with the free time. The person that introduced me to Organo understood something that even at the time I didn't even quite know about myself. The person that introduced me to Organo, he knew what my highest values were. And my highest values are learning. I'd like to share a concept with you. The concept I learned from Dr. John DeMartini. He is one of the world's top in human behavior. And we all have our own unique set of values. Our values are like a fingerprint, like a retinal eye pattern. No two people have the same set of values. And these values aren't random. They are actually derived from what we know are our voids. Our voids are what we perceive to be missing most. For example, let's say someone grew up in a broken home, a divided family. Their highest value might be relationships. Or for example, someone grew up poor and financially struggling. Their highest value might be wealth building. Whatever your biggest void, those are actually your grandest gifts. Those are your superpowers. Those will direct you to determining and identifying your highest values. Here's the catch. Most people don't realize their values. Most people have their values sort of lying dormant, like a seed that's never been planted or watered. They never ask themselves the question, what is it that I truly want in life? What am I spontaneously inspired to do? What lights me up on fire? And ultimately, what's my purpose? When I learned these concepts, it really uncovered the truth for who I am today and in all areas of my life. I'd like to share a story, if I can. How many of you had wild and lavish imaginations when you were kids? I still do. Yeah, I still am a kid. You are too. I used to wonder and think, what would happen if a really talented therapist were to walk their patient into a story and really immerse them deep into this tale? And then strategically, midway through, introduce a completely different story of the absolute 100% opposite in its nature. Did anyone else think that, or am I just the only one? Just me? Okay, I'm the weird one. Okay, that's fine, I'll own that. Let's all just use our imagination right now. Let's say you're maybe the therapist or you're the patient, and you're being told this story, and you're really going deep into this story. And this story is filled with darkness, challenge, pain, suffering, anger. And then strategically, the therapist now introduces a whole new story. And this story is filled with positivity, lightness, support, joy, and love. All of a sudden, strategically, you don't know where you're going with this, right? You're thinking the stories are kind of going in and out, no rhyme or reason. But then the stories start to get closer and closer together. They start to run parallel to one another. And then all of a sudden, at the perfect moment, bang! An explosion, a collision of thoughts in the mind. This fun little thought experiment of mine as a kid really set me up for something profound down the road. When I learned the DeMartini method from Dr. John DeMartini, I realized that when we balance our perceptions, we actually have a collision in the mind with our thoughts. Most people don't realize, or they're not consciously aware of the thing that resides in the unconscious. What I mean by that is most people are only consciously aware of one-sided to any event. They're conscious of the pain, they're conscious of the challenge, they're conscious of maybe the resentment, but they're unconscious of the benefit to that event. And so what I learned was when we ask the appropriate questions, we can actually unravel the truth to any event. And like I said, most people are only consciously aware of the one side. But when we uncover the truth, we can actually become aware of both. And in that moment of equanimity and balance, we have objectivity. And that moment is actually the light. That's the explosion. That's the Big Bang. And that ultimately is the realization of the universal language of unconditional love and gratitude when we are aware of both sides. But let's go deeper. Do you want to go a little bit deeper down the rabbit hole?
Yes.
Okay, I'm having fun. So we now understand values, but let's go deeper into paradigms. The late Bob Proctor describes paradigms as paradigms determine our behavior. And our behavior is dictated by our paradigms. So what I mean by that is we have a subjective bias. Our paradigms have been imprinted through time, all the way from evolution, from the first man and woman, Adam and Eve. And through time, through epigenetics, right from evolution, there have been moments in time that have made points in one's conscious and psyche. And then through generational time, generation after generation, all of those traumas or perceptions or events have created those paradigms. And then when we are in the womb, those epigenetic tags have been passed down to us from our mom. And then when we're born, those epigenetic tags are placed within our families, what we perceive and what we learn. We've heard of some paradigms today. Money doesn't grow on trees. Let's not talk about money, right? We've been born with these paradigms. And then finally, environmental. Those moments within our environment and our friends all shape us through epigenetic tags. And based on our paradigm, we have a subjective bias, an internal filtration device to allow us to react to stressors and pain and challenge based on our paradigm, based on our internal beliefs, what we've been inherited. Now, here's the thing. We're only consciously aware of 10% of any event. Where is the rest of the information stored? It resides in our subconscious. And I'll show that in a second. If you want to change your results, it would be wise to first change your paradigm. And if you want to change your paradigm, it's first wise to awaken your values. And so let's explore this really, really quick. All right. Let this represent your mind. Here's your conscious, and here is your unconscious. And this represents your body, and R represents your results. how you perceive the world through your senses, taste, touch, smell, see, and hear. But again, through your paradigm, what we've inherited, we're only consciously aware of 10% based on our paradigm. And so with that 10%, we develop our own paradigms. Those paradigms provide us with our own thinking. So let's call them why thinking, why beliefs, right? Now, the rest of the information is stored in the unconscious. Could you imagine, just for 1 second, think, if we were able to absorb and be conscious of 100% of all the stimuli that we're exposed to, what would happen to our brains? Right? So strategically, and through a survival mechanism, what we've inherited, based on our values and based on our paradigms and based on our voids, we selectively choose to only be aware of 10% of the event, conveniently. But all that information resides in our 90% in our subconscious. And so if you want to change your results, it's first wise to change your paradigm. And how do you change your paradigm? Well, you awaken up your values. How do you do that? Attending events like this. Learning from speakers and educators and books and authors, and really pursuing things that can awaken your highest purpose. So I just wanted to share that, because if you truly want to change your paradigm and if you want to change your results, you've got to awaken your values. And ultimately, by doing so, that awakens your infinite potential. Now let's go back to the beginning. Do you remember when I asked you, what were you told when you joined OrganoGold? Do you want to know what I was told? One person said to me this, Brendan, if you enroll in OrganoGold, you will have the opportunity to learn from Dr. Bob Rakowski. That's it. One line. Had nothing to do about the money or the free time or the health or any of the perks that come along with this amazing company. And there are a lot of perks, right? But that one line spoke to my soul. It spoke to my identity. The person that introduced me to OrganoGold didn't sell me on the things or the ideas that I wanted. He understood what I needed. The person that introduced me to OrganoGold is, there he is right there, Alvin Brown. I was a patient of his for a long time. We developed a relationship. He cared enough. He could have introduced me to Organo anytime he wanted, right? Anytime. But he waited for the perfect moment when Dr. Bob was flying in. And so for that, it was a game changer for me. And that is ultimately why I've got success with OrganoGold, because he cared enough to identify what it was that I needed, not what I wanted. The ancient Greeks, Plato and Aristotle, they called it your telos, your chief aim, also known from Napoleon Hill. It is your ultimate purpose. The study, in fact, is known as teleology. When you begin to align your life in accordance to your telos, your chief aim, you begin to no longer compare yourself to others, because you know that your path is absolutely unique. When you align your life with your telos, you no longer reach for instantly gratifying things that don't serve you. You're no longer impulsive or instinctive, because you know that your life is aligned with your highest purpose and your values. And ultimately, you give yourself permission to dream and to act and to become the person that you're meant to be. So I know some of you are eating right now, but you might want to write these down or take a photo. These 13 questions are specifically and directly right from Dr. John DeMartini's Values Determination. I'll read them out loud. How do you fill your personal and private space with the most? How do you spend your time most? How do you spend your energy most, and what energizes you? How do you spend your money most? Where are you most ordered and organized most? Where are you most disciplined, reliable, and focused? What do you inwardly think about the most? What do you visualize and realize of how your life is turning to be the most? What do you internally dialogue to yourself about the most? What inspires you the most? What are your most consistent goals that are showing to be coming true? And finally, what do you love to learn, listen, and read about the most? Now, the caveat is, don't write down what you think you should be doing. Don't write down what you want in the future. Write down what your life actually demonstrates. For example, if you had a drone following you and it was hitting the record button for 24 hours a day, what would be the most dominant traits and tasks that you're doing? Where are you spending your money most? Where are you spending your time most? The video camera will tell you the truth. So don't get caught up on these imperatives, what you think you should be writing and what you ought to be writing and what you want to be writing. Write down exactly what your life demonstrates. The reason why this exercise is so important and so valuable is because you're going to start to see a common theme. You're going to start to see some answers. And when you're starting to see these commonalities, those are the clues that will show you what your voids are. And with critical thinking, you'll actually be able to identify what your values are. And when you acknowledge and when you wake up your values, that is when you wake up your telos, your ontological purpose. My organo family, I'm here today to show you what's possible. I have recently come back from a global tour, traveling all around the world with Dr. John DeMartini. He is a human behavioral specialist. I was speaking at many longevity clinics, and the success that I've had in organo, like I said, has nothing to do with the money or the freedom. And it certainly has nothing to do with because I'm special, because I'm not. What I did is I gave myself permission to align my life with my highest values, with my telos. And I certainly didn't have a plan either. I kind of do. But my success isn't from a plan. It's because, again, I aligned my life unapologetically to be authentic with exactly what I want to pursue, without any judgment, without any fear of judgment whatsoever. And so now it's your turn. It's your turn to pursue your values, to pursue your ontological calling. Because when you start to wake up and when you start to act in accordance to your values, not only will your life change, so too will the lives around you. So the question is, it's not whether you're capable, because you absolutely are. You're 100% capable. And the question isn't whether the opportunity is here, because the opportunity is here. Look around. It's right in front of us. So the question is, will you give yourself permission to identify your values and live unapologetically authentic to who you are? Because we all want to be loved and appreciated for who we are. Nothing else. Carl Jung states it beautifully. The greatest gift that you can give yourself is to be absolutely undeniable, authentic to yourself in a world sea of impersonators and people that are trying to be someone else. That's the greatest gift. And so I give you permission, and it's wise for you to give yourself permission to become the beacon of possibility that this world so beautifully needs. My friends from Organo, thank you so much. I love you.
All right, man. Well done. Well done. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Give it up, guys.